All right, and we are now recording. Okay, so let's start again. My name is Frederick. I am the founder and publisher of Saturday AM, the world's most diverse manga brand. We started actually a decade ago, and so this month is actually our 10th anniversary. So many people thought that the idea of manga that wasn't from Japan could succeed. We're so excited that we're having a chance to not just prove them wrong, but more importantly, to take all of the diverse voices who have fallen in love with the incredible art form that is manga, and are willing to put their own voices to it and their own cultures to it, and are doing so now courtesy of our brand and or companies that have been inspired by our brand. So we're really excited to have this opportunity from Overdrive to present our brand to you all, and present our overall set of creators that we have. We've selected some of the best titles that we believe would be perfect for your institutions, library, or community library and or school. But with that being said, let's first tell you guys a little bit about who we are and what our library selections look like. So this presentation here, I'm just going to run through it individually. I'll be letting certain creators come on at certain times to discuss their franchises. All right, so first things first, our brand is focused on creating a diverse setup here. We have been a strategic partner for libraries, brick and mortar stores, and consumers. We've tried to capitalize on strong connections between traditional manga tools, modern diverse artistic styles, and our brand awareness. We're poised to bring in a new era of manga style content and diverse heroes for the next gen fan. And even Neo Magazine, which is a pretty popular manga magazine in the UK, referenced what we're doing as being potentially the future of manga. We certainly think so. We certainly think that we're on to trying something new, but therefore we are sort of pretty happy to have a chance to bring so many diverse voices together for the express purpose of popularizing manga, continuing to popularize manga in a variety of locations. From that standpoint, today we're going to talk about a couple of topics. We're going to talk about what is diverse manga. We're going to talk about what are Saturday AM manga series. And of course, we're going to talk about how does Saturday AM connect with young readers. And finally, we'll talk about a way that we can win. You guys can win with your local community and or school libraries. First of all, what is diverse manga? We've gotten this for a decade since we started the company, and we want to explain it a little bit. Manga itself, as you all know, has exploded in popularity. It is literally one of the most popular franchises in publishing globally for quite some time now. Some of the biggest titles you can see here, you all may have in your libraries: Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man, My Hero Academia, Oshi no Ko, which is a great new series from Yen Press, and of course the phenomenon that is Blue Lock from Kodansha. So fantastic publishers producing some fantastic content that is really capturing an audience from every demographic in several countries around the world. Beyond that, we have Webtoons and Chinese manhwa, which are also gaining traction. So you're seeing a lot of works from Webtoon themselves who are producing their content and making it available in book format now. Webtoon style comics like Solo Leveling are about to have an anime, and we're seeing tremendous interest in those products. Chinese manhwa has been quite popular and is having a lot of success, especially in bookstores. And Yen Press has released their new line called Eyes with titles like The Married Princess, and these are Married Empress, sorry, which are fantastic titles and are just really gaining a strong audience who are interested in other forms of comics, certainly the vertical scroll type of comics, but also just other cultures. We're seeing, obviously, again, Chinese and Korean culture definitely starting to get more traction in the global mainstream, which has been fantastic to see for those of us who just want to see more diversity. Likewise, you've got YA graphic novels, which have never been more popular. Right now, they are absolutely killing it between Heartstopper, which of course is a hit series on Netflix, and a wonderful book series by Alice Oseman. You've got Clementine, which is based off of the Walking Dead franchise. It is illustrated and created by the really talented independent creator Tilly Waldron. Speaking of independent creators who have becoming possibly successful and wonderfully so, Raina Telgemeier, who I had the pleasure of meeting recently, of course, has been killing it as a fantastic author for over a decade. And of course, the new DC Inc. line of series beginning with Beast Boy and then Beast Boy Loves Raven is continuing to have a lot of success with titles like Robin from the Teen Titans line from Kemi Garcia and Gabriel Piccolo. So you have here is you got three very dominant forms of comics that are really taking off, not the traditional floppies, although the comic industry is always having problems, but the meat of where young readers are right now are manga, increasingly webtoons, and of course YA graphic novels, as they have been for several decades now. Saturday AM is a mix of all of them. Our interest and our desire is to bring the best of all those things together. We have teenage protagonists, we have people of color, we have cultures that may be foreign to the mainstream but are rich with identity and rich with ideas. So you can see here just a few of our titles, illustrated by a New Zealander, a Nigerian, a French artist who was originally from Niger, and an artist from Senegal, and that would be Mass Multiplayer of the Ghost from New Zealand, Apple Black from Nigeria, Clock Striker, which is illustrated by a young man who's French and from Niger, and Oblivion Rouge, which is a fantastic series featuring Afrofuturism from Senegal. Saturday AM wants to really be a home for all these divergent ideas that have been born of the various things we just talked about. We want to have a focal home for them where people can find that type of content readily, and they can recognize, of course, by the banner that we have. Like Japanese manga and webtoon, one of the things as well that we think really matters with young readers is how they discover content. And we think that they discover content, frankly, from having it serialized. Like they enjoy reading it in chapter format and episode format, and then seeing it collected. It creates an effect of being able to follow something and then to appreciate it in total. That's been something really fascinating that I think more and more companies hopefully are starting to figure out, because we've been noticing this for a decade plus now. And so what we have done, very similar to the Japanese market, is we've created 3 digital magazines that allow us to serialize the content and build that audience, and then bring it to a finished graphic novel version in ebook and or print format. The 3 lines, Saturday PM, speaks to older readers or more intimate and mature situations. Saturday Brunch, which is a line that we have for female-based creators, LGBTQ, and content that is meant to be more open. And then Saturday AM is just pure action adventure. If you've got young people who are into Marvel, DC, Shueisha, aka Shonen Jump from Viz Media, then Saturday AM would be a product that would appeal to them. Some of the unique aspects of our books, digital and or physical, that we're very proud of course, is that number 1, we have international creators across nearly every continent. So whereas manga traditionally comes from Japan, and manhwa and manga traditionally come from other Asian countries, China and Korea, our content comes from anywhere. So that's why we don't call it like black manga or French manga. We call it diverse manga because it literally represents the world. We have creators from nearly every continent on the planet. We have diverse main characters, so our characters tend to come from these cultures of where the creators come from. Our artists are also very popular online, so whereas sometimes certain mangaka, and in some cases in Korea, where they have studios for producing the content, it's really hard to connect with or know the creators. And with us, one of the things that we were really passionate about was inspiring young people to pursue this type of career and to bring their own voices, their own ideas to manga. Thus, our artists tend to be very public, and in many cases they're popular. On the front cover of our books, we have very vibrant images to make sure people can see the sort of idea of our series. We try not to get too artistic with it. We want people to really understand from the get-go what our book is going to have. Furthermore, we have artistic first. The artist names go first. We do believe in artists being a central part of selling a story. We think that what keeps a story, what keeps a fan is the writer or the writing, but what introduces a fan to the medium is an artist. And we think our artists are some of the best in the business. So we always try to highlight them first. Saturday AM Present at the top lets you know that it's a product that's been vetted by us. So it's a product that comes from a long line of diverse creators that have been put through our process to produce great content. Trust that this is going to be content that is not there to surprise people. It's not going to be content that shocks people. It's going to be content that's there strictly for people to understand and appreciate the general idea of what we're trying to provide and what they can find for their individual consumers. From that standpoint, we are left to right. So it's one of the things that is different with us. We are left to right. Japan is one of the few places that does right to left. Even the most popular webtoon titles are still read I'm sorry, or read left to right, right to left is really just Japanese. Not only, but for the most part, in terms of popular content, is Japanese. And so when we had young creators who were coming up, we felt it was important for them to not learn how to be left-handed if they're already right-handed. We wanted them to be true to who they were in all assets, and this includes the way they read stories and the way they create stories. Our back covers have the country flag, so you can always tell. This includes our digital version. You can always tell where they're from. Age ratings are based on Western content. So if you are a Western provider of content in your libraries, then you can rest assured that when we say it's teen, it's going to be teen by most standards here in the West. And most manga is as well, to be clear. But I know in some cases right now, especially in America with everything that's going on politically, some surprises can happen, and we want to make sure that for our content, at least, we try to be more vigilant about that. We do have great creator endorsements as well, so there's some really fantastic creators from around the industry who have endorsed our books, and you can find those quotes on our digital and physical products. We have released to date over 18 titles. We've got more coming for next year, so we couldn't be prouder of the amount of content that we have produced, the creators that we have, and the characters that we are associated with. We think that Saturday AM is really something that belongs in every library and can speak to a variety of your students, regardless of what their ethnic background is, what their orientation is, what their gender is. We think Saturday AM offers something for everybody. What are the Saturday AM series? We have a number of series, obviously, across 18 titles and more coming next year. What I wanted to do, however, today was to talk specifically about a few key titles that we have. So let's start with Gunhild. Fred Torninger, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. All right. So Fred, tell them where you're from and tell them all about Gunhild.
Yeah. So I'm Fred Torninger. I'm from Denmark. And Gunhild is a Norse mythology adventure about this Jotun, who is a fire creature, who's been abandoned by her kind and grows up amongst the humans. She gets a premonition of Ragnarok, the end of the world, and needs to stop that. But she gets no respect because her kind is seen as the villains in this world. So she decides that she has to go to Valhalla and become one of the gods. And so she embarks on this great adventure where pretty much everyone she meets opposes her and tells her she can't do what she wants to do.
And, with Gunhild, one of the things we're so proud of this title, as you guys can see, is that what Fred's not telling you is that, first of all, this is one title we have in color. Fred is an award-winning author from Denmark. And so for her to be a part of our team, we just could not be more excited for this. We think this is the perfect title for middle grade readers. And in fact, if we had to provide you some comparison, we would say if you're carrying titles like Unfamiliar or Hooky, we think that you would find a lot of success with Gunhild. We are working on volume 2 that will be releasing next spring, as a matter of fact. So we couldn't be more excited about Gunhild. There will be lots of Norse mythological characters that will be popping up in the series as our little firehead here, little hot-headed young woman attempts to stop Ragnarok and challenge the gods, and also recognize her own place in a world that disagrees with her because of what she looks like and what she is. So we think this is a story that works for young kids of color. We think it's a story that works for young people who may have been adopted. We think this is just a great story for any young person who's been alienated, but also feels that they can do anything. We're really proud of this book. We hope you guys will check it out. Volume 1 is available now. Next up, we have Hitenin. And this is a title from Bon Idol out of the UK. Are you there, Mitch?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Tell folks about Hitenin.
Cool. So Hitenin follows journalism student Alex. 9 years after a mysterious disaster destroys his city, and he's investigating kind of what caused that. When giant monsters called kaiju start appearing, and his life is turned upside down, and he is kind of roped into a world of costumed heroes and giant monsters. All while trying to balance being a student, you know, trying to ask out this boy he likes, and just trying to, you know, get his assignments done on time, you know.
Hitenin got some incredible reviews. In fact, it was a starred review on Kirkus Reviews. As you heard Mitch indicate, this is a title that features an LGBTQ lead. We could not be more excited about offering a story about heroism with a more modern character who's dealing with his own struggles and dealing with the struggles of other folks as part of his family dynamic. And so we just couldn't be more excited for this title. Fans have really taken to it as well. It's got one of the coolest covers that we had. And so we just are really excited for Henshin. If you all are thinking of carrying Henshin, do know that this is a mostly black and white title, like most of our books, but it is an action adventure superhero title. It does have LGBTQ elements to it. And therefore titles that we think would really do well in comparison are LGBTQ lead series, titles that feature earnest protagonists. So you're looking at things like Power Rangers from Boom Studios or Hollow, which came out a little while ago. We think those are really solid titles that if you've got fans or young readers who are really enjoying these, they will find a lot of value, we think, in Henshin as well. Not to mention anyone who loves just great superhero fiction, we think Henshin will work in any of those contexts. So thank you guys for that. Let me see here if we've got, I think this one had a question. Ah, great. Okay, someone said they're a Toku fan. So yes, this is Tokusatsu, and this is Sentai. So this is some really great material across the board. Next up, we have Hammer by our one and only Jay Oden. Are you there, Jay? Is Jay there? All right, well, Jay's not here, then I'm going to go ahead and read for Jay then. Listen, this is one of our big series. Jay Oden is one of our most accomplished creators throughout Saturday AM. Jay has appeared with USA Today as an artist. He's done work with Antarctic Press. He's done work with Oni Press most recently. And of course, he works exclusively with us. He's also an owner in the company. We have been a massive fan of Jay Oden since we met him. He's one of the nicest people, one of the most talented creators, and one of the most just sort of spirited people you'll meet. He makes you more excited. He makes you more positive. Jay is just an incredible personality. This series, to me, is one of our just flagship titles because it really captures the spirit of the young readers who we think can benefit and enjoy Saturday AM. The main character, Stud, is what they call a swirl. These are individuals who have basically been transformed by magic, and so they can transform themselves into certain things. In his case, he can make these giant hammer hands. Stud's father is travels a lot, so Stud is kind of a latchkey kid. So of course he gets into various hijinks trying to make friends. In the process, he discovers his father's journal, begins to feel that perhaps his father is, going places that may lead to some more information about his missing mother. So he decides to embark on this trek. In the process, as he goes through his father's journal, he's transported to these various really wild and crazy lands. And this is just a really magical, fun, action-packed series, more adventure than anything, with gorgeous artwork. So if you are a fan of Henshin, if you're a fan of classic comics, we think you're going to really love this. If you're a fan of manga that features really earnest adventure style context, we think you're going to love this. Hammer Volume 4 actually comes out in December, next month, early December, and Volume 5 actually comes out in 2024. So Hammer is indeed one of our long-running series, and will continue to build content throughout. Sorry, here, let me let folks in here. Okay, and then next up, I want to talk about with Hammer is that if you are looking to carry Hammer, some things to keep in mind is that we feel that Hammer very much syncs up with Jeff Smith's excellent Bone series from Scholastic. Art-wise, Jay Oden and Jeff Smith have so many similarities. They have one of the most beautiful, creative and cartoony artwork that you will see. The characters and the worlds are massive with really great characters to it. So we think Bone is a really excellent example, as is the master Ichiro Oda's One Piece. We think One Piece matches Hammer in so many ways, or Hammer matches it. In terms of just having really big, grand adventures with really big stakes, but also just a fun protagonist. So Stud is one of the true protagonists that you love to root for because he's such a decent kid and he's such a one-note kid. Like his mind is always built on friendship and doing what's right. But he's a great, great character, and we think people will love it. Likewise, Jay Oden is the artist of the Rick and Morty, the manga. So if you're carrying that book, which just came out from Oni Press, if you've got kids who are massive fans of Rick and Morty, then you will most certainly want to carry the Hammer series, as if they love that book and the artwork in it, they will most certainly fall in love with Hammer. Next up, we have Clock Striker. I'll talk briefly about this one. This is a series that I created. And I created it just because manga notoriously does not feature a lot of positive leading protagonists of color, and most certainly not Black women. So it was important to me to show everybody, fans, media, artists, that a Black female could be an incredible protagonist of manga and have her be actually Black, not just, darker skin tone with straight hair and a Japanese name, but actually Black. Someone has, Black features, has an afro that she can style in dreadlocks. Cast is a wonderful character. This character is easily one of the most popular series that we have and characters that we have. Is our fastest selling book. It's our one of our best selling titles. Just came out this year in February, and it's our best reviewed title. The basic story is that Cass wishes to become a smith. Smiths are like the Jedi. They roam the lands in her very kind of steampunk future society, and they kind of right the wrongs. They're engineers, so they can build stuff to help people, but they're also warriors, so they can build stuff to destroy things. After a giant war that happened about 100 years ago between AI, robots, and humanity has now emerged from that. And again, we kind of have this more steampunk era where they are very skittish about technology. Cass is someone who loves technology. She loves the idea that tech can help people. So she endeavors to become a smith to kind of change the perception of technology. Unfortunately, women typically are not smiths, or at least that's the rumor, and they're not people of color. Cass is in a town that's been devastated by the war, so it doesn't have a lot of resources. So while Cass is really smart, she's not encouraged to be anything more than maybe just like a helpful housewife. I think we all know where this is going. I think we all know the world idea that this sits in. So, Cass is adventurous. She meets a smith, which is named Miss Clock, and she basically decides to, or is given the opportunity to be her striker, which is the term that was used for blacksmiths' apprentices. So Cass is now the striker for Miss Clock, and they go on these incredible adventures. These two very powerful women. One's a kind of British ass-kicking Mary Poppins type, and the other, of course, is Cass, our streetwise, precocious, incredibly dedicated, loyal, hot-headed engineer. So the series has been, like I said, a massive success. The books are being sold inside of pretty much every Barnes & Nobles you could go into. It was in Walmart. We've recently just closed the deal to have the book distributed officially in France and the French language from a major publisher. It's up for nomination of the YASA Awards, which we are extremely happy about. We just learned about that the other day. It was recently featured in Japan for their Comics and Francophone Africa symposium, which is happening at the famous Kyoto International Manga Museum. And it also is the subject, along with some of our other titles, of a line of apparel, which will soon be sold in Hot Topic, Box Lunch, Walmart, and Amazon. So Cass is really a iconic character for the medium as well as for Saturday AM, and we could not be more excited to have her as part of our group. Of course, Volume 2 is coming out next fall. And if you carry similar titles like Naruto or Miles Morales Spider-Man and a host of other titles, Devil Dinosaur, Moon Girl, and so on, we think that Clock Striker will do very well with readers of any age, any genre, any gender, and any sort of interest when it comes to manga. Whatever they're into, we think they'll still find something of value within Clock Striker. Next up, we have our biggest series by far, and that is Apple Black by a young man named White Manga online, but his real name is Odunze Ogugo. He is here, and I'll let him speak about his awesome series. You there, White? Did we lose White? All right. I thought White was here. I'll go ahead and speak either way for Apple Black then. Apple Black is a massive franchise. It essentially involves a young man named Sano, which you see here, who has been destined to be basically like the god of this world, because in this world of magic, everyone has a wand, and that wand can be used in all the ways that we typically see in magic. The difference is that the wands in Apple Black can be anything. It could be a cigarette, which it can use smoke attacks. It could be your glasses. It could be, a traditional wand. It could be a device. In Sano's case, his entire arm has been blessed as a tool of magic, and that's what makes him perceived as Trinity, as like this really important figure that could usher in the next stage of the world or destroy it. So a lot of people are after him with this arm, and it really tracks this young man's journey to find his own place in a world that is both incredibly exciting, but also extremely dangerous. In volume 1, he gets admitted into a school for magic and gets to meet other characters that he befriends on his journey to discover who he is and what he is fighting for. In volume 2, there begins more characters introduced, including this one character who's based on Nigerian characters and ideas named Obi, which you see here in the color image. Obi is a good example of white manga who is Nigerian, bringing in his own culture and ideas to this work. The action heats up in this as we start understanding that there's a war brewing. In volume 3, that war breaks out fully, and we now have the entire area that Sano is destined to be a part of getting involved in a massive conflict with a new villain named Caesar. And we're coming to the conclusion of this battle, setting up the next arc in volume 4, which has been highly anticipated by our fans. That actually debuts in 2 weeks, on November 21st, or about 2 weeks. It'll be in bookstores everywhere, and we believe it's going to be a gigantic hit for fans of Apple Black. You may be asking, Apple Black, what is, why is that such a big title for us? Aside from being obviously gorgeous, as you guys can see with the art, it also is illustrated by this young man, Odunze, who has a very popular YouTube channel. In fact, his YouTube channel has over 500,000 followers, and it never passes when we do events like we did recently that there are a host of young people who are followers of his, have been following him for nearly as long as we've been existing since Saturday AM. So not only is a series just an excellent example of manga done outside of Japan, it's one of the most popular examples of manga done outside of Japan, but it's done by a creator who is extremely well received by the industry, by fans around the world, by professional mangaka. Tony Valente, who does a series called Radiant, is a massive fan of White's, and vice versa. So we could not be more proud of the series and what it represents. To that end, if you have the similar titles, Bleach would be a big connection to Apple Black. Radiant, the title I just mentioned, which is from France, but is very popular around the world. And then I was going to put Harry Potter, but reasons. I changed it to Mashal, which is a manga. I think all of these would do well. Magic, adventure, teen protagonist, amazing artwork. I think all of those will speak well to fans of Apple Black for your libraries. One other thing I would say that's coming next year that I think will really excite you all is something else that's happening in the world of manga and manga fandom that we feel really strongly about. And that is the idea of light novels. If you guys have seen light novels, you know that they're basically kind of an offshoot or an adjunct to traditional novels, shorter novels, more kid-oriented novels, or young or teenager novels. Not quite Harry Potter in length, but novels that kind of like have a quick adventure. This has been becoming a big form of opportunity and engagement for young readers who are taking their interest and discovery of manga and starting to branch into more literary realms, which I know is, of course, something that all of us want to see happen more in our libraries. Light novels have been a good bridge for that. It's taking them from just seeing pictures to having to actually read stories and develop their own ideas for what is happening. Light novels such as manga titles like Jujutsu Kaisen, Naruto, One Piece have done very well. Chainsaw Man, and we felt that we wanted to add our voice to it, considering how popular some of our series are. And so we have formally announced our first light novel book and our brand new light novel line. Our line will be called Well Read, WEL/RED. I love that title. And that is basically going to be a place for us to have the same sort of diversity to manga, to light novels, where we have more characters of color, more unique cultural ideas brought forth in that. And we hope that this will continue to bridge the gap between manga in some of your libraries and into your more traditional novels, whether it's, classics or more modern classics like Toni Morrison, depending on if your library, of course, has those items. So the title will be called Apple Black Origins, The Spectrum and the Spectre. And what's so special about this, there are two things that really stand out for us. Number one is that the protagonist is a young Black female who is connected to, this is a prequel, I might add, who's connected to one of the main characters in Apple Black's current manga storyline. So this is a kind of the history of some of these characters. And this female character you can see here on the cover, named Willow, actually has vitiglio, which is the condition where your skin pigmentation, especially if you're Black, starts to go out, and you end up having like these spots around your face. Wonderful people who are helping to shatter the idea of that being strange, models like Winnie Harlow and so forth. So we were really excited when White pitched this idea to us, and we went further with it. White has this great concept where the vitiglio that affects her, is also a map. So there's a magic piece to it. It's a map. And so the whole story builds around this character and how she is identified, and also how she learns to love and respect what she has, because it literally could trigger something catastrophic happening if she doesn't get a handle on it. So we think it's a wonderful story. It's also, the second thing is written by Stephanie Williams, who's a Marvel Comics writer. She's written for Marvel, she's written for DC, she's written for IDW. This is a young Black woman who is the real deal, creatively and personally. I've had the pleasure of meeting her and hanging out with her, and she's awesome. And so I'm so honored that she agreed to work with us for this book. It's her first novel that she's written. She's adapting it from White Manga's original story concept, and we think it's gonna be really big. So I hope you all will consider this title as well for your future assortments next year, but this will be coming out next year in the spring. So one last thing before we open up to questions is, how does Saturday AM connect with young readers? As you can see, we have lots of series we didn't even get to. We have series like Soul Beat and Titan King, and titles that I think would be huge in your libraries. I was trying to keep it tight and then missing a few titles that I thought as well you guys should really learn about. But with that being said, we do have a host of great titles. How do we connect with young readers? And we do it a number of ways. I want to talk about a few of them. First, the Summer of Manga. This is a program that we've done for several years now. It's how we discover new artists. So every summer we have a process where readers around the world can submit comic ideas to us. We then review those just like a traditional publishing house would. We then get back to the creators that have the strongest possible material and concepts. We assign them an editor. We interview them personally. If we feel like there's really some stuff here and really something we want to see develop further, then we assign them a page count. We give them an editorial team and a marketing team, and we then let them produce their content. We then run it inside of some of our digital issues that summer of Saturday AM. And then when those creators afterwards, we finish up, we have a chance to review it, do a post-mortem. We also get reviews from professionals and from fans who have a chance to see their works in the magazine issues. And we then offer them a contract to do a piece to be published in our actual book called Saturday AM Annual, which is an annual anthology that we do featuring critics from around the world. So what you see here on the left is the cover of our latest Summer of Manga, which happened this past June and July. Likewise, in the center is one of the images from one of the incredible images from one of the incredible new creators we discovered, being from this artist was from Ukraine, from Hungary, and just unbelievable talent, just crazy talented. So I'm sorry, this is from France. This is from France. Cosmic Fires from France, but unbelievably talented. We could not be more excited to have a chance to work with this artist. You can see just the incredible creepiness of this image. Maybe they're a future Junji Ito type, I don't know, but just really wonderful. And then last but not least, the final image you see here is a page of a story that ran in this year's anthology book, which is the covers at the bottom of that, called Saturday AM Annual 2024. It's just coming out now. You guys should be able to get it in your libraries. It features several stories from creators of last year's Summer of Manga event, and this artist is from Zimbabwe. So again, every year we have artists from various countries. This year's edition featured artists from Argentina, Brazil, the United Kingdom, Vietnam, Zimbabwe, as I mentioned before, and so on. So definitely a great program for new artists to have a chance to be taken seriously, no matter where they're from, vetted, worked with editors professionally, and then paid. We think this is a huge opportunity. We do it every year, and we always discover some of the best new talent from around the world. One of the other things we do is we do con appearances, which you see here are pictures of our latest event. This was an event that we hosted ourselves called Saturday Con. And this is an event that we did ourselves for our 10-year anniversary. We brought creators from all around the world, from our top artists from New Zealand, France, Denmark, the United Kingdom, and all throughout the United States, including creators who are originally from other countries, like White Manga from Nigeria. Really great. Young families came out. We had college students coming out, local people coming out, and they just love to see our diverse, great list of creators. We had young kids winning prizes and books and prints, and it's just a great way to connect, a great way for them to be involved. We even had art contests where young people were able to submit their art ideas, and one person walked away with $200 for the art contest. So again, incentivizing diverse voices means you've got to make a platform, you got to make a pathway for them. And we hope that in the process of the things that we do, we can continue to bring more ideas, more creativity to your libraries. Last but not least, I want to talk about some titles that are coming up. One of the big ones that we did and we're hoping to make available for Overdrive soon is How to Draw a Diverse Manga. This is a book that's one of our top sellers. It features artists from around the world. We do everything that we think is appropriate to continue to bring young people into the idea that there's no set standard for manga. For example, we're the first book to really take seriously in manga the different ways to do Black hairstyles that is both respectable to their ethnicity, but also able to have some uniqueness to it that would work in manga. Conversely, we offer different body styles. Oftentimes in manga, characters or Korean Webtoon and so forth, characters are very pretty and very thin. And we think that obviously the industry and our fan base is not always like that. And we want everyone to feel like they can be the hero, that they can be the star of their stories. So in turn, our How to Draw a Diverse Manga book has been really successful in that regard. We've seen more and more adoption. We've seen more families buying it for their young person who may be into art. And we've got incredible reviews and comments from people who have learned something from the book or taken it very seriously as it relates to expanding their own knowledge base, even if they are established artists, in creating more diverse characters. Next year, we're bringing more to the table with this. We have Making Manga, the Saturday Way. It's the first time we're talking about this title, and this title will be a pseudo sequel to How to Draw a Diverse Manga. It's all about helping artists create their own manga, the Saturday Way, meaning that if you're not Japanese, you want to create manga that you can be comfortable in, this is the book for you. We cover everything from story, plot, how to draw action scenes. We talk about tools to use. And then we even have at the very end 2 short stories created by our most popular creators, White Manga for Apple Black, and then Asaki Galdi and myself for Clock Striker, where we establish some of the story, and then we turn it over to the readers who buy this book to create and finish the ending of the story. So we think it's going to be really fun. It's going to continue to create opportunities for young creators to feel legitimized and validated and respected, and we could not be more excited about that. The title to the right of that, with the young African boy with the energy pulsing in his hands, this is a title we cannot wait for people to discover. It's called Orisha. It is by a Nigerian creator named Zaif. Zaif is with us today. I'm going to have him talk a little bit about what it's like to create a all African shonen manga. So Zaif, are you there?
Hello, yeah, Fred, I'm here.
Okay, great. Tell me about Orisha, please.
Okay. briefly to explain the story. Basically, it's just about this young kid, that gets thrust into this world of gods, with the using the mythology of the Orishas, which is the Yoruba culture of Nigeria, where I'm from. Using that lore to aid in the story, and it tells the story about Aboki, which is the protagonist. He goes on this a journey of self-discovery, like exploring, using that and exploring the laws and the backgrounds of various African cultures and Africa, like the mythology of Orishas, that has never been done before, at least that I've seen has never been done before, because we've all had the Egyptian law, uh Greek, Greek mythology, North mythology. So I really do hope I'll be able to do justice by this, and just bring more uh, of uh, of African background to the forefront, with the manga aesthetic, of course. And yeah, I hope I do justice by it. And yeah, is there anything else you want to add on to that, Fred?
Yeah, I would just say that Zaif is we discovered Zaif through the program just talked about. He went through our an art contest that we did called March Art Madness a couple of years ago. He didn't win it, but we recognized his talent then. Even he then applied for Summer of Manga and made it through Summer of Manga with a short story called Mythcasters, I think.
Yeah, Mythcasters.
Mythcasters.
You gave me a hard time with that. You called it terrible. I was like, okay, I took that to heart.
To be fair, we knew he was talented, but my thing is always pushing these creators to unlock, their own essence and their own ideas. And Mythcast felt too safe and didn't feel like it was touching on some of the wonderful things that make Zaif. And so Orisha is that. I think Orisha, when you all have a chance to experience it next year, I think you'll be really surprised with it. It's a title that we feel like could be the next Avatar, The Last Airbender. This is a really positive character. This is a fun character. This is an African character who's a hero, which I don't think we get to see nearly enough. This is a world and a culture that'll be on display. And it'll also involve a lot of, just like Oblivion Rouge, some ideas of Afrofuturism from the great Octavia Butler, where we see what science and cosmic ideas look like from an African perspective. So I think there's so much here that young people and older readers will get excited about. And we just can't wait for you all to experience Orisha. We think it's going to be a really, really solid title for our line next year. And then the last title I want to talk about is Saturday Wars. We got a very tiny glimpse here, and that is by design because we don't want to give too much of it away just yet. But this is a first in manga. We take all of our top heroes and we put them into one story together. This oftentimes as young people, I did as a kid myself when I was younger, not with manga, but of course with superheroes, could Superman beat Hulk, could Batman beat Captain America? We see those same conversations happening today. Could Luffy beat Naruto? Could Ichigo, take out Tanjiro from Demon Slayer? We think that there's a magic to that's universal, of wanting to see these characters involved with one another. And oftentimes with manga, because these stories are so insular, and by design, I mean, it's a creator vision, and all of our content is creator owned as well. But because it is, some of the fun gets lost in terms of the ability to see these characters together in a story that actually matters, right? Because it's not as fun if the story doesn't matter. Even if you feel like nothing really changed, the stakes have to feel real. And when every character in a manga can destroy the universe by themselves, then it just doesn't work as well. So we, from the very beginning, have made plans to really kind of work together and making sure that our individual series and worlds felt logical, that if we ever crossed them over, that there would be room for characters to really succeed against one another, that there would be rules that would hamper some of the heroes that are very powerful. And we finally put together a story, some 8 years in the making, where we feel like we have a really amazing story to tell that features all of our heroes in a big, broad, cosmic story that matters, where there will be shocking things that happen and where characters that maybe you're not familiar with will have a new respect for. So we could not be more excited about the series. This will launch. It'll be one graphic novel. It'll launch next year, but it's going to be a very, very big title. And all of our big heroes will be part of, from Clock Striker to Soul Beat to Hammer to Master Multiplayer of the Ghost to Bully Eater to Apple Black and so on. So can't wait for you guys to learn more about that. And it will be available as well with Overdrive next fall. So with that being said, we do want to answer questions, and we want to talk about art contests and library appearance and stuff, to which case we would say, please join our newsletter so that we can work on things that we can do directly with you in support of your carrying our titles from Overdrive. If you're carrying our physical books as well, we want to add you to our newsletter so that we can be a part of any conversations to help you get more out of our content and to take the readership that you're having with manga and bring them even closer into your library to do more stuff, whether it's art contests, whether it's reading more books outside of manga. We really want to be a partner with you because of how much we love libraries and how much we love the work that librarians do. So with that being said, I do want to ask if you guys have any questions. I know I kind of raced through everything as quickly as I could because we started so late, but please let me know if you guys have any questions. I'll be happy to make a way for that. And I'll also have our creators come forward as well to speak on that. Let me pull this up here. There we go. All right. So are there any questions that I can speak to for you all? You feel free to post it in chat, or you can unmute your mic if you guys have anything. Oh, I'm just saying. I'm sorry. It's in the comments now. Someone said light novels seem to get more popular every single day. Yeah, they absolutely do, and we recognize that that they're great. You got some really classic series in the group, such as Sword Art Online. Titles just getting stronger and stronger. So we feel really positive about having a chance to get caught in that excitement with titles that feature more diverse characters and take place in more diverse settings. So we're excited. We have big plans for Well Read that go beyond just adapting some of our existing series. So can't wait to share that with you all. Let's see here. This has been really great, actually. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Ms. Kane said I have to head to another meeting, but I just want to express that I really appreciate the context you provide in regards to how each of the titles fits in the current trends and other well-known manga. Thank you. I appreciate that. Does anyone else have any questions about our titles? Have you guys been able to carry our titles inside of your digital offerings at your libraries?
Hey, Fred, it's Beth. Great presentation.
Thank you, Beth. I forgot to say that we're so everything we're doing is because we've got some incredible partners with obviously MDI, which is we work with exclusively with Beth Kawasaki, who's been wonderful in helping us establish our relationships with your libraries and your schools digitally, and then of course Corto helps us produce our physical books. So hey, Beth, how's it going?
Hey, I wasn't fishing for a compliment, but thank you. I'll take it. I actually just wanted to mention while everyone's on the call that we have about 21 titles up for you on Overdrive right now. And then several of the coming soons you mentioned we're in process right now of getting 2 or 3 more things up, like the annual 2024 and new volumes in certain series. So there should be a couple more by end of year. So we're really excited about that. And also that you're doing a promotion with Overdrive right now in honor of your anniversary. So discount on some of the titles.
Yeah, thank you so much for saying that. Yeah, I forgot about that, everyone. We do have a wonderful sale happening with Overdrive. We know that, of course, budgets are tight. We know that, there are lots of great content from lots of great companies. So we want to try to, at all times, be a great partner to you all by having content, not just speaking to as many of your consumers as possible and readers as possible, but also trying to have them be as reasonably priced as possible. So we do have a great sale coming up soon with Overdrive. Is it not live yet, right? It goes live later, closer.
I know. No, we're in November now, so it's live. Yeah.
Oh, it's live.
I know,
Okay, yeah.
it seems like, yeah, it's live now. It's
I know.
November.
Yeah, time is going fast. Yeah. Well,
It's
if
been
you
crazy
all,
for you, yeah.
yes, well, please check that out, everyone. Like I said, if you join our newsletter, our first newsletter is going out later this week, and it'll cover library functions. So if you join our newsletter, please feel free to find out sort of opportunities we have for Overdrive and other digital platforms as well. So, and like I said, we were looking to do more things with libraries. So if you guys are interested in us doing a webinar specifically for your library, we're certainly keen to that. We've done some amazing art contests at libraries. We have some wonderful creators who are participating in that. And again, as Overdrive is international, again, we have international creators that can do so for a variety of locations globally. So please let us know on that front as well. Are there any other questions that we can speak to? All right. Well, I think we may have then come to the end of this. I don't want to hold anyone up. I know it's the middle of the day. I thank you guys so much for taking time out of your schedules. Again, my name is Frederick, the founder and publisher of Saturday AM. We have a very diverse manga brand. We are so excited at the possibility of having a chance to interact with you guys more directly, with you carrying our books and working with you. So please join our newsletter if you can from the QR code right here. And we will make sure that we have a chance to speak with you in the near future with our team. And all of our great creators and our great partners like MDI and Corto. So thank you all so much. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.